morning, Chuck. Wanted to take a moment here and review the lesson we had the other day. Take a look at the golf swing here. I've already started you in a position that kind of is almost a review of what we talked about last time at Golf Galaxy and trying to get you to, as you have lost this considerable amount of weight from where you were previously in your life to now, what tends to happen here is sometimes other parts of our body take over, or in your case, I think it's been, the lack of play. You've been busy, child, family, just coming in with term of things here. Sometimes our body tends to forget our position. So you can see how I've turned you up to the top part of your golf swing. Now, when we look at the top part of our golf swing here, we take our swing back, we turn up. Now, from here, what we want to think or what we want to consist of is our body / head right here, and then right here. What we should see is a little bit of a bump of the weight as the hands start to come down. This left leg should start to straighten up, and we should start turning into that position. But because we don't see a lot of turn with this right hip, and I think it's because of where we were before with the weight and so forth that we've carried, you're not seeing a full drive or a full push off and turning of that right hip. So what we see is a little bit of that slide. Now, as we see a little bit of that slide, you come down, you start to see the natural bow of the shaft here, start to create that lag, great position here. But then right here, you can see where that right hand starts to take over, starts to release the club, and that's why we see that forward bend or forward bowing of the shaft in this case. Because of that here, we see a lack of turn in the midsection of the body. Thus, in turn, you've slid through your left side of the wall here, so you slid already about, you can see a good 6 inches in layman's terms. So then as you make contact with the ball, now it becomes a timing issue, whether or not you're making that consistent contact, that timing as you're turning into it. Because look at this point of impact here. Here's impact. This club should be more here, right there, with the hips turning through that point of impact. All right? Good idea, good view of that is, let's take a look here. Here's Nick Wyatt here. Here's that same position here. Here. I'm going to turn up to the top of the golf swing. See, he's got a little bit of that slide like you do, but you can still see the same position of where the hips start turning. We get through impact. I wouldn't mind if you had that little bit of a slide through if when we got the impact, this is where the club was. You see what I mean? Look at the shoulder turn. Look at the tilt of his shoulders turning through that same progression compared to yours. All right? Those shoulders have turned through because look at his hips now. His hips are pointed over this way, whereas your hips are pointed straight at the target. Down, consequently, you can see right there the amount of it. I mean, look where his hands are, and his hands clear to here. His hips didn't turn that much. Yours, they get to here. See how much more extension as well you could have. Look at your, I'm going to erase some of those lines. Look at the extension through the ball. I mean, you're strong as it is, and you've been strong all your life. But, there's a difference between when you were making your turn at 16 compared to making your turn now in your 30s. Now, vice versa here, through your 20s, you were a little overweight. You had a little bit of weight through you, so you began to swing with a lot of your upper body and it became a timing issue. Played more, timing was there. Didn't play, some different shots started coming into play. So, as we see this, and it's not just Watley here, but I'll show you. Here is Meg Ballin with a little bit of weight on her. You can watch Meg here as she gets to the top. Pay close attention. Here's her belly button. Belly button. belly button. It's still that same position, but if you look here, wrist hinged, wrist hinge, but the biggest part, look at that right hand, right there, there. And then look at that right hip through here, look at the extension, down through, follow through, big difference between these two positions. Right there, night and day difference, okay? And then last one, Chuck, as we look here, obviously a individual that is, oh, here's Jason Duffer with the driver. See how the hips are turning? Down, extension down and through. Here's Dustin Johnson, same thing, freak of nature. See as he comes into it, look at that leg drive, hip drive, shoulders turn, and even a man who swings as powerful as he does, look how he holds that wrist hinge. We compare you in the same regards. See the difference? Night and day, son. So, what do we do to change that? Well, talked about a couple different things. Talked about trying to first, actually that's your down the line view. First, I had you hit into the heavy bag. And what I want you to think about here, one, we created that wall again, like we've done in the past. Get up to the top, and my thought, what I want you to feel like was that whole position of that right elbow, or that right wrist, feeling as it turns into it, a little more of holding the position down, 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 hips turning, and you can see just a little bit the left leg straightened up in a much better position, but it was still that position of the hinge. Look at our two different positions here. Still just a little bit. That makes a difference there. So the bag worked a little bit, I think, for you. But then I think as we moved on, as we continued to work on it, what we saw was just a little bit better positioning. And that you can kind of see here a little bit better as you come down into it. Here. All right, so that's where I was showing you there, but I want to kind of go back to, here just to show you a difference. Look at the difference just in that position there. That's already through impact. This is through impact. Look at the hips turning into it. Much better position already in regards to, one, the right hand and these two positions. You can see a big difference in the hips starting to turn through here, but we still obviously need just a little more work of getting that right hip to initiate as the right elbow comes down. We hold that right hand position here, and even I'll show you there at that right hand position. Look at the difference. You already start to see where you're starting to cast it, and look how much lower that club is coming down because that club is already starting to bow forward. Big difference between the two, and just these little changes. That's all I'm about, is making the little changes at first because they lead to the big changes later on. All right, so I'm going to get you back in that face-on view. Kind of get us back into that position here. All right, so next position as we came into this. Wrong view. Sorry about that, sir. So as we come through here, right there, now that's where I need to go. All right. Next position is I just had you take a couple swings at the ball, feeling that position where you're turning into that left side, holding that right hand. So you're trying, still that position of not getting that extension. You see how that? So what I would tell you, Chuck, I would almost want you to feel like you're hitting high fades, or just hold on with that left hand and force it through down and through impact. You can still see that the hands kind of turn through and not getting your extension. You're a tall individual. Let's get that extension through impact. All right, same position here. I mean, these were all better shots, but I still think we're going to go back to where we were if we don't get a little bit more extension with these hands coming through impact. All we're going to do is lean back to where we were before, and that's obviously not what we're wanting to do. So this last swing here, or last position I had you do at this final end, and I don't have it on here, was right hand only. I want you to swing through right hand only, using just your right hand, feeling your position, because if you didn't turn through, what happened here, and even that's a better position to where we were, but still need to see a little bit more of that right hip turning through right position. So what I had worked on with you here was feeling that right hand, set position, turning back, turning through. You can't obviously hit your right-handed club if you don't turn those hips through. So obviously I want some right-handed shots. I want some work in the bag, 20 reps, feeling that position, almost feeling like that left hand is kind of bringing it through, holding that right hand in position. And then third, when you go to swing, I want you to almost feel like you're hitting block shots out to the left, out to the right all day, because that's going to ensure that we're turning through and getting that extension down through impact, rather than kind of seeing this movement still through impact, because you see how the hands just flip through where the body's not turning. So Chuck, if you have any questions, by all means, I want you to give me a call. You know the number, 314-724-6539, or shoot me an email on michaelwyattgolf@gmail.com. Thank you, sir.